couple other areas in the boiler room and on a boiler that you probably want to look at focusing on here is upgrading your flame safeguard. John mentioned before that the products we offer are flexible enough to be able to provide it with integral flame safeguard or without integral flame safeguard. So depending on if you already upgraded your flame safeguard, we can work with you and provide a linkageless system that works with that. Or you may want to look at upgrading your flame safeguard and having it separate from your control. We mentioned VFDs. VFDs can be used on the combustion air fan. Another good place to use VFDs is on feed water pumps. There is a savings there that is could be quite huge, depending on how everything is sized and the physics and how the boilers are used and versus how they were designed. In some applications, gas meters on your boilers are desirable, depending on how you need to meter out, and you need to look at how your gas is being used, depending on if it's going to different parts of your building or different jobs or different processes. You can actually have a gas meter go into a building automation system, so you can look at how you're using it and how your boiler is operating at different parts of the day or for different projects or for different customers.
Cost assignments, or in some states where it's mandatory to measure fuel usage. Yep. And trend that's available.
Yep. Steam meters, so you know how your boiler is running and what you're producing at any time of the day. In some cases, gas detection is important, as well as paperless recorders. You may also want to look at bringing your building automation system into your boiler control, but paperless recorders are a good way to actually gather data from steam flow, gas flow, efficiency, water temperature, and have it sitting there for EPA, DNR, or for just doing simple efficiencies on your boiler.
Right, or to actually watch and see the efficiency change over time.
Correct.
So you know when to maybe clean up the tubes, heat transfer efficiency, those things change in time, and it gives you a baseline to see where you were. These products are all in our solution catalog, where the flame safeguard is in the front part, the combustion section, but you'll find the rest of those items various places in the catalog. Just take a look at the index if you would.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is kind of an important screen as well. These are all questions that should be asked of you if you're looking at putting a linkageless system on your boilers, or questions you should be able to answer in order to be able to develop an ROI or to understand how your boilers are being used in your facility. If these questions aren't being asked, you need to think about who you're talking to there.
It's kind of a long list that's somewhat intimidating, but these solutions, although as generic as they can be from the manufacturer, at some point need to be somewhat tailored to your specific application, and these give you some starting point to think about.
Yeah, and if anybody would like to email me, I have my email on the next slide. I can forward this one to you so that you can really hold that near and dear and be able to answer some of these and start thinking about it. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Just one more slide after this. Again, my name is Chuck Kudy. I'm a territory sales manager here for Industrial Controls. I have my cell phone on the screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. Also have my email address there. More importantly, in the yellow box there is, if you'd like a copy of this presentation, please feel free to email us or me, or get a hold of me, or just call or email moreinfo@icemail.com. We'd be happy to come to your facility and do a presentation, or we can have somebody come out and kind of do an ROI and take a look at your boiler and help you understand if it's a good candidate for this. Or if you want an ICD catalog, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, please call, email. We'll be happy to get one out to you. But I do appreciate your time, and I thank you very much for investing your time this morning. And if there's any questions, we'll be happy to take them.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Sure.
At this time, I'll read some of the questions that came through. We received a question from Tim. He asks, can you put a linkageless system on a boiler with multiple burners?
And the answer to that question is yes. It depends on the solution, but for example, the control links fits very well in multi-burner applications where each burner has been fitted with a separate combustion air damper and fuel control valve. So essentially what's done is each burner is set up and optimized by itself, and then the The opposite's done for the other boiler burners until you get them all set up the way you wish, and then they operate in tandem.
Okay, great. We also received another question from Kyle, and he asks, can these linkage-less systems be integrated into a building automation system?
Yes, they can. As I mentioned before with the Honeywell Delphi, that's a tritium-based, so that's a pretty easy integration, as well as with the the Control Links, which has an RS-485 communications protocol that can be used, and you can port data up into a building automation through that. And then with the FireEye gear, that is more or less, that's Modbus going up into your building automation system. So yeah, that can easily be done.
So Modbus is really the form for the FireEye and the Honeywell.
Oh, Modbus 485.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's a pretty readily accepted standard.
Okay. We received a question from Richard Crummer. He is raising his hand. So Richard, I'm going to unmute you, and you can ask your question directly. Richard, are you out there?
Morning, Richard. Hi.
Richard? Okay. We'll move on to another question then. We received a question from Bob. Can we get simple ROI?
Yeah, we can provide an ROI, a simple ROI for you. And I can work with a customer on that. But real simple, we're looking at how many hours a year is the boiler run. We're looking for what's its firing rate, average firing rate, cost of gas, and the horsepower of the boiler, and we can figure out a simple ROI for a customer on that. Yes.
Okay. We also received another question from Samuel, and he asks, can a boiler be placed on manual to slowly build pressure after maintenance?
Absolutely. In the case of the Control Links, for example, we can either do the low fire hold, meaning the modulation will be inhibited until we hit some minimum water temperature set point, or also in the case of Control Links, there's an auto manual input on the controller, which when placed in manual allows you to modulate burner position with a manual potentiometer. So if you want to leave it at low fire, after repairs are made, you can do that and then slowly walk it up until you build temperature and pressure. Or at some point where you're comfortable, you've maintained your minimums, so you can just release it to modulation. So yes, in both cases, that is friendly to the guy that's doing work on the mechanical side of the boiler.
Okay.
Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great question.
Yep, again, yeah, great question.
Okay. All right. So at this time, it looks like we're out of time. If you missed any part of today's presentation, we will post a recorded version on our website, which is industrialcontrolsonline.com, and it will be under the online training section. Within the next couple of days, we will email a link to the video and our contact information if you have any further questions or feedback for future webinars. And also, we will be running another webinar based on steam trap application and maintenance on November 3rd. That's a Wednesday. On that note, I would like to thank everyone for attending, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you from us as well.
Have a great day, guys.